Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Yesterday, August 31st, 2016, in mainstream headlines, the town of Roanoke, Virginia was back. You might recall that a year earlier there was the supposed shooting of a reporter and a cameraman on air, Allison Parker. That story came out of Roanoke, Virginia. That's the same town where the movie What About Bob was filmed. So, anyhow, it's back in the headlines about a year later. This time it's a different shooting that the headlines are in regards to. So, this is yesterday, August 31st, 2016. Feds urged to probe Roanoke shooting by police. Roanoke, Virginia has gematria of 87 and 96. This is a story about potentially getting justice. Both the words truth and justice have gematria of 87. The word Freemason has gematria of 96. It is Freemasonry, it is Zionism. That is the network that controls our mainstream media and creates news headlines by the numbers, by the day, and that's what we'll be exploring in this video. So let's first read. Roanoke, Virginia. The American Civil Liberties Union of Virginia and the Roanoke branch of the NAACP wants federal officials to investigate police practices in Roanoke County, where officers shot and killed a black teen in February. This shooting happened on Friday, February 26th, the anniversary date of the 93 World Trade Center bombing. We'll talk more about that. In a letter to Attorney General Loretta Lynch's office, the groups requested more information about the death of 18-year-old Kionte Spencer. Police say officers shot Spencer after he ignored their commands to drop a BB gun that resembled a pistol. The Roanoke County Commonwealth's attorney has said no charges will be filed against the officers. The officers' names and races haven't been released. The groups say they believe Roanoke County police practices target minorities and people with disabilities. A police spokeswoman didn't immediately respond to messages Wednesday. A Justice Department spokesman says it's reviewing the request. So this story came yesterday, August 31st, a date in the U.S. that we would write 8/31. American Civil Liberties Union, who's bringing this story forward, in gematria sums to 138. The reflection of that date, 831-138. Here's a big story about the ACLU, urging the feds to get involved in this police shooting. If you add the to the front, the American Civil Liberties Union, it sums to 153. It mentions a letter to Loretta Lynch, the Attorney General of Barack Obama, and part of a very sick joke. If you haven't seen my work on the nomination of Loretta Lynch, you might recall how it was stunted by the Republican Congress for a long period of time, really drawn out, the longest time it ever took a president to have an attorney general replaced. It was all by the numbers. And anyhow, Loretta Lynch equals 153, just like the American Civil Liberties Union, just like the phrase the Illuminati. 153 is a number often paired with 42. If you read the Bible, there's the miraculous catch of 153 fish. And the word fish in gematria sums to 42. So does the word miraculous. 42 and 153 are often paired together by this gang. With regards to the Bible, the original printed Bibles were 42-line Bibles. The New Testament in gematria equals 42. It begins with the 42 generations leading up to Jesus. Freemason equals 42. It is Freemasonry that is the Illuminati, that has the concepts of order out of chaos, divide and conquer, and has coded so many words of hate and division with these numbers, seemingly making sense. And these people really like numbers, this language of numerology and gematria, and they make these relationships all the time. I have no doubt this is why the American Civil Liberties Union sums to 153. Again, it connects to 42, which is the sick joke coded on black people secretly, just like this. February, the only month with gematria 42, Black History Month. It ends on February 28th, the 59th day of the year. The other number stamped on black people in history is 59, Negro 59, Slave 59, Blues 59. Motown Records came out in 59. Kill in Jewish gematria equals 59. Supposedly AIDS was discovered in 59 in the Bavarian Congo. Bavarian Congo equals 59. The most hateful word for black people, 42. Miraculous, 42. Again, the miraculous catch of fish. Fish is also 42. February. Brothers. Think about Black History on the bus. Rosa Parks born on 4/2 in February. Boy, used as a derogatory term, 42. So anyhow, going through the details of this story, this shooting that they want the feds to investigate, the medical examiner's office released their death report on him on March 3rd, 2016. And that was a date with 42 numerology. What else? It was also March 3rd, 3/3, the anniversary of the beating of Rodney King, the anniversary of the burial of Trayvon Martin. I just told you that they code 59 on black people throughout history. Rodney King equals 59. Just write these words out for you. Negro, slave, blues, Rasta. There's even more. Cracker. Even jokes like this. Eminem, the way they spell it. These numbers are not arbitrary. They've been coded since the beginning of English, because English is based on this system. It was made by Freemasons, and they've been using it this way ever since. I should have mentioned that LAPD sums to 33. Rodney King beaten by the LAPD, the police. Look at these phrases. Race war 33, KKK 33, police 33, federal 33, order 33, masonry 33, secrecy 33. You go through every city in this nation, it's hard to find a police station that's too far away from the Masonic Lodge. You go to smaller towns in this nation, so often the Masonic Lodge is right across the street or on the same block as the police department. In major cities, it's never too far away. Freemasonry runs policing in this nation, runs government, runs media. It is the secret society international that established this nation. So that's why we get this March 3rd examiner's report. Likely a Masonic examiner. And then look, the officers were acquitted on May 25th, 2016. This was a date with 46 numerology, and if you're new to my channel and you took the time to watch the more than 100 police shooting videos I have, in almost all these videos I talk about how they code the number 46 along with 33 with the police. It shows up again and again. The word hero equals 46. The mainstream media tries to paint the portrait that police are heroes, when really, the only reason they're here is to protect the corporate tyrants, which is why the corporate media, which is run by the tyrants, presents them as heroes. And to see what side the police are on, all anyone needs to do is start a protest against one of these, tyrant-run companies. The police will show up and they will line up to protect the company, ready to injure those protesting against the tyrant. The police are here to maintain the shit, protect those who are responsible for the wrongdoing. Anybody who's ever needed the police knows they're not here for us at all. All they do for us is write tickets, collect more tax revenue, waste more of our time. This was a date with 46 numerology, though. Hero 46, Chaos 46, Hate Crime 46, Baton Rouge and Dallas, Texas 46. This story came the day before Blue Lives Matter was signed, the police bill to protect them from threats such as Black Lives Matter. I don't think this is any coincidence that these stories were a day apart. The shootings in Louisiana, Minnesota, and Dallas, Texas were all propaganda by the numbers for part of this federal agenda involving Blue Lives Matter, which is about militarizing police against threats, namely Black Lives Matter. This is about militarizing police against black people further. Black people who are participating in black lives equals 33, just like race war. I should have had that up here, just like LAPD. Let me just do it for you in case you doubt. Black lives, not a coincidence. When you add the word matter, it sums to 56. That was the 56th governor of Louisiana, the first governor of many governors considering to sign the Blue Lives Matter bill that targets Black Lives Matter. 56th governor targeting Black Lives Matter in Louisiana and many states to follow. So the date this man died, where the medical report came out March 3rd, he died on February 26th. We'll talk about why this date's so interesting. His name's Kionte Spencer, gematria of 64. He died on a date with 64 numerology. Civil rights equals 64. The Civil Rights Act happened in 64 because everything in this nation's history has been done by the numbers by this Masonic game. The current president, Barack Hussein Obama, equals 64. He's the 44th president, the first black president elected 44 years after the Civil Rights Act. Who was the face of the Civil Rights Act? Martin Luther King Jr., shot on 4/4, a lot like 44. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X both died on dates with major 44 connections. Malcolm X's assassin got 44 years in prison, plus Malcolm X's assassin, his name Thomas Hagen, sums to 4. Oh, he only has one G in it, that's why. Thomas Hagen, gematria 44. 44 is the kill number. And so often these reported stories that make national headlines about deaths by police versus civilians, often white officer versus black civilian, the number 44 is coded. Look at this. Kill 44, shooting 44, officer 44, department 44. The day he was killed, a date with 44 numerology as well as 64. Notice it was also a date with 19 numerology. I should mention this. Chaos in Pythagorean gematria sums to 19. Order out of chaos. And right now these stories are being used to provoke us nationally. They want us to divide, fight with each other, race war, religious war, the roots of a civil war. His name in gematria, Kionte and Spencer, with the exceptions. Kionte's 38, like death. Spencer's 44, like kill. Number we just covered. The date, February 26th. This is a date with a connection to 93. Look at this. When you write out 226, it sums to 93. On February 26th in the year 93, there was the World Trade Center bombing that was directly synced up with the 9/11 attack. See my video on that, some of my most important work. Words such as Saturn and propaganda have gematria of 93. Saturn's the keeper of time. It has to do with government and organization. And our nation has us, the people, organized by living under constant tyranny, constant propaganda by the numbers. And with regards to 93, these are numbers that apply to major civil rights leaders in American history. Martin Luther King Jr., 93. Malcolm X, 93. I have a video on the date Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X met. It was a date with 93 numerology. They only met one time in their careers as speakers. And they both died at age 39. The reflection of 93. 39 books in the Old Testament. The final speech that Martin Luther King Jr. gave was on April 3rd, typically the 93rd day of the year, except for in leap years. And it was Mason Temple. Mason Temple, Freemasons. If you look up Mason Temple's phone number, you'll notice it has 93 even to start the number. It's very interesting. So these are special numbers here, 93 and 226. They have an even deeper relationship. The word planet in Jewish gematria equals 226, and the most important planet to the occult is Saturn. We just talked about 93 and 226 are related. If I knew astrology better, I bet you I could tell you what was so significant about all the dates we just mentioned. We talked about the numerology. The other half that's there is the astrology piece, and I think this is where this numerology and astrology link up. Roanoke, Virginia also has gematria connecting back to planets. If you're with me, my screen's locked up for just a second. Okay, here we go. All right, so last thing to look at are the coordinates of Roanoke. It's on the 37th parallel. The date this young man was killed was a date with 37 numerology. A lot of this stuff comes out of Chicago. It seems like Chicago is the central nervous system for a lot of this propaganda. Chicago equals 37. Just makes me wonder if there's some parallel there. 79 is also a number connected to murder. The word murder in simple English gematria sums to 79. Tupac Shakur shot on September 7th, a date written 7/9 in most parts. Never seen my work on Tupac Shakur. His final album came out on 2/13, February 13th, the 44th day of the year, the day known as Lupercalia, an ancient Roman celebration celebrating death. February 13th. Tupac Shakur died exactly 213 days later on September 13th, written 13/9. Check this out. Tupac Shakur, 139, just like 13/9, September 13th, the day he passed. Freemasonry, the big way, 139. Number connected to Malcolm X's death. With regards to dying 213 days after his 213 All Eyes on Me studio release, Black History Month 213, Hands Up, Don't Shoot 213. There was that recent propaganda shooting in Baton Rouge, supposedly a young black man targeted police, killing a number of them. I forget what it was. It was like something like Conversations with Cosmo. No, that's not what it was. Maybe it was Convos with Cosmo. That's what it was. The reason I'm showing you this is because they give us all this propaganda for a reason. These details, they're all encoded with numbers of significance. What 213 goes back to is the name Nimrod, the original Freemason from the Bible. You know, the Freemasons have Grand Lodges. They have the big G on their emblem. Grand has this connection to 44 as well. These numbers that show up in these shootings connected to killing, you know. Freemasons, again, divide and conquer, order out of chaos, propaganda by the numbers. The Freemasons are builders. They do everything by measurement. Look at this. Building 42. Architect 42. Freemason 42. Zionism 42. This is the gang. This is how they operate. This is the language they speak in, the language behind our own words. And this is how these stories roll out by the numbers. And the final piece I want to close out with is a thank you to the person who asked me to investigate this story. This is someone who's been following my channel for about 6 months. However, the way he introduced this to me was, can you please look into this story? I know it's real because my friend who's a police told me he filed the report. And I thought that was really interesting. Show you something. Police 33. The man who wrote this to me, his name is Tanks David. Tanks David 33. So I hope Tanks David is a legit dude. He's always very complimentary and polite and encouraging about my work. You know, if this really is a real shooting, it just shows somehow that there is also a greater synchronicity in this world by the numbers. And if this young man was targeted and murdered by police, it might have very well been just as the words I used, targeted and by the numbers. You know, I don't know if this young man had a criminal record, was already in the system, could have been targeted that way. But it is entirely possible that that is going on. And if that is going on, that means this game is even more sick than we know. You know, faking these stories to provoke people, that's evil and cruel enough. To actually go out and target people to kill them by the numbers, you know, just an extra layer of sickness. No matter what the truth is, though, this all needs to be shut down. It needs to be stopped. This knowledge needs to be shared. It needs to be known by the masses. It's the only way we're going to bring this to an end. Until next time, truth seekers. Encore. Look at this, truth seeker. For one more piece of evidence in regards to how these stories roll out by the numbers, the supposed shooting was February 26th, 2016. On August 31st, 2016, national headlines about the ACLU becoming involved. That's 187 days later. 187, the homicide code in many police departments, a notorious number. Until next time.